Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Maddie and today we're doing another reading vlog. My dog Heidi is behind me and she's snoring, so if you hear a weird noise, it is her. She's 15 years old and she's just living her best life. Anyways, so like I said, we're doing another reading vlog. Now, I realized I started this vlog, forgot to film an intro, so I'm filming it now. I have already read The Assistant to the Villain and given my thoughts on it, but this is The Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Maher. I don't know how you spell or how you say her last name, but this is a cozy fantasy about Eve, who is in need of a job, and she runs into her local neighborhood villain. He lives on the outskirts of her village and everybody is absolutely terrified of him. He wreaks havoc on the whole town and everybody thinks he's evil, and if you are associated with the villain in any way, then basically like you are like able to be punished to the highest extent of the law, or whatever, however you say that. Anyways, Evie runs into the villain and she needs a job very badly because for one reason or another, she's not at her old job and now she has to take care of her family. And one day she's walking and she runs into the villain because he's on the run from the Valiant Guards. And basically, after that little run-in, he offers her a job and she takes it. That is kind of the premise. And this is such a fun, cute, low-stakes book. Kind of like a rom-com, very slow burn. I talk about this later on in the video, but there's really not a lot of romance. It's, I think, a slow burn building up for the rest of the series. There's going to be 3 books in the series. I cannot wait. I think the next book comes out in August. But yeah, just a cozy fantasy kind of vibes. Vibes are all around. I found this so, like, oh my gosh. Anyways, I'll talk about my other opinions later in this video, but that was the first book we read. So now that we're caught up, I think the next book that I am going to read in this video is going to be Divine Rivals by Rebecca Roth. Yes, I am so late to the bandwagon on this, but I don't know. I think maybe it's because they're like communicating through typewriters that I've not been wanting. Like, I've heard so many good things, but I didn't like that movie. Oh my gosh. Is it You Got Mail? The one that like they communicate through email and then they're rivals and then like they don't know it's each other. I don't like I hated that movie. So I think I'm a little bit worried I won't like this book, but I think we're gonna take the dive. We're gonna try it out because everybody talks about it. Nobody ever has a bad thing to say. So we will see how it goes. This is also on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm probably going to be switching back and forth between this book, the physical book, and my Kindle. But yeah, so that's what we're going to start reading today. I might try to do one more book in this video, to be determined, see how much time we have. So we know we have at least these 2 books. We'll see about a 3rd book. So I'm currently about 30% into Assistant to the Villain, and I really didn't know what I was getting into when I picked this book up. And it's a very cozy fantasy, and I've seen some good reviews on it and some bad reviews on it. Personally, I am loving this book. It is not like high stakes at all, but it's so funny. Like, I'm not one to really like laugh out loud when I'm reading a book, but this has me laughing, cackling sometimes. Evie is just so awkward, but then she'll like say some of the most hilarious things ever, and I love her. And I also love Kingsley, who is in this. He is probably one of my favorite characters because he is so cute. And anyways, yeah, but super good, loving it. It is kind of long though, like the pages, like the actual, I don't want to lose my page, but like there's a lot of words on each page. I thought this would be like a bigger font, but it's not. But very cozy read. I really like it so far. And I kind of just needed something cozy because like I've been reading a lot of high stakes, kind of almost depressing and fantasy novels, and then also I've been reading some thrillers, and I just needed something light and airy and fun that was also fantasy. I wasn't really in the mood for a romance book, but this seems to be a very good like compromise. So I have finished assistant to the villain, and y'all, I gave this 5 stars. I love this book. There is nothing that I would change about this book. It was so cute. It was so fun. It is longer, even though it's a cozy fantasy. This is my first cozy fantasy that I've read, and I thought it was amazing. I loved Evie. I found her so funny. I loved the villain. I loved their banter. Oh my gosh, it was just so cute. Now, I will say there was barely any romance in this one. I think there's 2 more books in the series, so I think eventually we'll get a little more romance. There was a tad. There wasn't a ton though. I would, if you're wanting a romance-filled book, this is very slow burn. So if you don't like slow burn, don't know if this will be for you. But personally, I thought it was amazing. The villain reminded me of Raymond Reddington from Blacklist, if you've ever watched that show, with kind of his moral code, I guess. I just loved it. I just thought it was so funny. I never laugh in books, while I'm reading books, and this had me giggling and laughing, actually laughing, because Evie is just so awkward and quirky, but in a good, perfect way. She's so funny and cute. Love her. Love the villain. Love the side characters. It's just so good. I couldn't recommend this one enough. I've got my little reading buddy right here. I am literally only through the prologue of this, and y'all, I swear, is this gonna make me super sad? Oh my gosh. I have never done well with in movies, when you watch them go off into war and you have to watch them get on the train and say their goodbyes. That rips my heart out in movies. I can't imagine being in that scenario in real life. And anyways, from this is obviously not a spoiler because it's in the prologue. Iris's brother is going to the war. I guess he heard a song or something from the goddess, and it called he enlisted. Anyways, and they're at the train station, and he's getting on the train to go to war, and I can't handle that. I swear if he dies, I'm not gonna be okay. I have no attachment to that character at all yet. I don't even know if I get an attachment to him. It's just the fact that I will not be alright if he dies just because of this little train scene. That's all. That's all I wanted to say. So I have finally finished Divine Rivals, and I really, really love this book, although I do have some mixed emotions about it. But to tell you all a little bit about this book, now that I have actually read it, we are following our main characters, Iris and Roman, who are rivals at the Oath Gazette, which is a newspaper publisher, and they are trying to both get the position of a columnist, but only one can have it. And Iris is the one we are mainly following, but it is dual POV. She is going through some struggles with her mom with addiction, and then also her brother has went off to fight the war that's going on, a war between 2 gods. She is just kind of going through it, and so she starts writing letters hoping that it's going to find her brother, and eventually she realizes she's sending it through what she thinks is a magical wardrobe, and they are actually getting sent to her rival Roman, and eventually he starts writing her back, and then we kind of follow from there, and she does not know it's Roman, so that's kind of awkward. But anyway, so that's kind of the premise of the book. Like I said, I have many mixed emotions on this book. I loved the romance. I loved Iris and Roman together. I specifically loved Roman. I felt like he was a very developed character. Iris, I'm hoping we get a little bit more from her in Ruthless Vows. I really loved the aspect of being able to read their letters and really feeling their emotions. And also, the emotions from this war are very, you can feel them, which is why I have such a hard time with this book, because it made me very sad. It was very intense, a very emotional book, and usually I kind of stray away from those, but it just felt very, very real. I would say this is definitely more of a historical fiction with magical elements to it compared to just being a complete fantasy book. One thing I think I would have liked, I think this book would have been a 5 stars, Honestly, if it would have been a regular book, I mean a regular war compared to two gods warring between each other, I just didn't care about it, and my brain was not like in a regular fantasy book. My brain is like, oh, okay, like two gods like going to war, but this, because it felt like a historical, like fiction romance, that I felt like I didn't really care about the gods and their war. Like it just really wasn't a big part. It just felt like kind of an extra added storyline. So I really wasn't like vibing with that. Like I could have done without it and just had like a regular war. Anyways, so yeah, I really did like that this touched on some deeper topics, and also the topic of being able to find joy in like really bad times. That was like a theme throughout this book, and I really, really enjoyed that. But it also, like I said, it does touch on addiction and, of course, you know, like the hardships of war. I don't know if there's any trigger warnings, but if you are sensitive to addiction, I would look into that. I don't know. Rebecca Ross might have trigger warnings on her website. I'm not sure. I don't see any in the book, but I could be wrong. But anyways, so I gave it 4 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have already started on Ruthless Vows. Like, it's a very, very good book. I see what the hype is about. And like I said, I just have so many mixed emotions, which is why I didn't really make it a 5-star, just because I don't love depressing books. But yeah, so anyways, there you go. That is my thoughts. I'm not going to read any more books for this vlog since I have read Assistant to the Villain and Divine Rivals. And so Assistant to the Villain was a 5-star and Divine Rivals was a 4-star. So that is a pretty good rating for a vlog. But anyways, so yeah, I am loving it. I can't wait for the second book, to Assistant to the Villain, to come out. I think it's The Apprentice to the Villain. Also, since I'm reading Ruthless Vows, I am really enjoying that one. But that is where I'm going to end this vlog. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please stick around. I would love to have you here, and I will see you in my next vlog. Bye, friends.